Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dawn and I'm gonna jump right in with this video. It's a get ready with me. It's this look and it's a very simple everyday look. It is my hurried makeup look, which a lot of days that's what I do. I'm hurried. And I'm using my Italian Summer palette from Anastasia as a complete face palette. And I have shown you this before and I love this. And I used up that whole palette and I purchased another one. So this is a fresh new one. And it does come in two other shades that are deeper than this one. And if you are a deeper skin tone than me, you might want one of those palettes, but I think that this would look beautiful on anyone. But the bronzer is a little bit light and better for a lighter skin tone. So I think, I think that's like the deal breaker for those of you who need a deeper bronzer. But the blush I think would be pretty on anyone, as well as the highlighter. And so I'm gonna be using this. I am gonna pull in some other products I've been wanting to share with you. I'm gonna be using my Good Apple foundation from Kat Von D. She did just release her new liquid variation or version of this. And I just love this. I've already hit pan and it's a great foundation. I love it. And one of you asked me if I could show you a look with it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm using a new foundation brush that isn't very expensive. Some of you might be interested in, and it's gonna be even less expensive at like mid to the end of April, or I'm not sure when in April, but the Sephora sale is coming up and all Sephora beauty is 30% off for everyone. And I'm gonna be using the new IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Dark Spot concealer that is new to the market. So I'm gonna be demonstrating this and telling you what I like about it and some other products that you haven't seen. And stay to the end because I don't want you to miss anything. So let's just jump in and get started. Brush from Sephora that I've been really wanting, and it's the number 70 brush. And this is the box it comes in, and this is what the brush looks like. And I've been wanting this brush for a long time. I saw someone using this on an Instagram reel or on YouTube or somewhere a while ago, and I thought it was a really nice brush, so I had it on my list. And of course, I picked it up, and then I found out the Sephora sale is coming. But anyways, it was $30. And this is what it looks like. It's really solid and it's got some heft to it. Not heavy, but it feels like substantial. It's like a good brush to grip. And I like the head on this brush. It's not too big, but it's really dense and kind of bouncy. And that's my favorite kind of brush for applying foundation. I don't really like to use brushes like this IT Cosmetics brush that I spent a fortune on when this first came out. I do use it, but this is like so soft and sweepy that I like to use this for other things than foundation. I feel like, I don't know, it just kind of sweeps your foundation and doesn't really buff it in the way I like my foundation to be buffed in. And the size of this is really good for a foundation that I've been loving since like the end of November. And one of you asked me if I could do a demo with this foundation. It's not a new foundation. I saw a lot of reviews on this and I didn't think it would be a product that I like because it's a foundation in a pomade kind of form. And those are usually a little too oily or greasy on my oily skin. I have like an oily skin type, so I don't like anything greasy or oily on my skin. But I saw a review from Angie Hot and Flashy and she absolutely loved it. And she did such a great job of reviewing it that it made me want to pick it up, and it has not disappointed me. You can see I've already hit pan. I use this nearly every single day. I do love my other foundations as well, but this is just really handy, especially on days when I'm in a hurry in the morning or like for touch-ups during the day. So I've got my brush. It's the first time I'm using it. Oh, and I wanted to tell you guys that I saw at Sephora that this does come in a mini size for $20 in the grab and go bins at Sephora. And it's the same brush, it's just smaller. And I'm tempted to pick that up just to carry this in my purse sometimes and have that small brush with me. And it's just like this one, but it's like I said, it's shorter, a lot shorter. And I think the head's a little bit smaller as well. So just some things to think about during the Sephora sale. I think it starts April 24th maybe? I can't remember. It's in April. And this is supposed to be a full coverage foundation, but I don't use it as a full coverage foundation. I don't go very heavy-handed. I just put it on my face and really buff it in. I feel like it gives me a good medium coverage. And it doesn't feel greasy on my skin at all. It feels more like a moussey consistency than a greasy, like oily consistency. It's not like a balm type of foundation, like I'm thinking like Stila's foundation balm. It's not like that, where it's like a salve or a balm and a little bit greasy. I don't think they use the word salve describing foundations. I think it would make us all run the other way. I'm just gonna put on a little of this foundation salve all over my blistered skin. That's what I would think of. Like a balm type of foundation that reminds me of like salve, where they kind of feel like they've got some petroleum in them or something. I don't like those. This one's really, really good though. So I'm gonna use some MAC paint pots on my eyes today. I did pick up some new ones at the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. They were on sale for half price on the first day. And I was lucky enough to pick up the ones that I wanted. And I picked up Groundwork. And I've been wanting this one for, I don't know, I just think just for like a nice neutral eye or for like smudging beneath my eye. And this is what this one looks like. It's sort of like a brownish taupe. It's really pretty. And then I also picked up Bare Study, and I wanted to pick up Bare Study because it's like that perfect kind of sparkly white shade that we use in like the inner corner, you know, like right on the inner corner of our eyes, or like even as a highlighter. I don't think you can see it very well on my arm, but it's a little bit sparkly, as you can see. It has a little shimmer in it, and it's like a champagne toned shimmery paint pot. And then I didn't pick up a new Art-therapeachy because I did recently pick up a new one like a few months ago, and it's still new. I did go through one over the year last year, and this is just a nice peachy toned one, and it's really pretty. And this is the one I'm going to use on my mobile lid today. So I'm just going to put this on my mobile lid, and it's just like a really nice soft cantaloupe shade. And if you aren't familiar with paint pots, they're like really long wearing eyeshadows, but you can also use them as base for your eyeshadow to make your powder eyeshadow stick. Like Painterly is like famous for for doing that. And this is Painterly. This one's not new, but it's just like a nude color. And this also has a lot of uses for it, because not only is it great for priming your eyelids, but it's great as a concealer and kind of color corrector as well. The paint pots are amazing, and if you haven't tried them, I'd really recommend it. Even on older eyes like mine, they don't make your skin like feel tight or look more crepey or do anything that you won't want them to do. I think that they're really beautiful no matter what age you are. Like I know some of us, as we get older, we stay away from kind of cream products on our eyes, but we don't need to. It depends on the product, really. Okay, now I'm going to take Groundwork on a smudger brush. This one is from BK Beauty, but whatever like short stubby brush like this, I really like using this type of brush for smudging eyeshadows underneath my lower lash line. I feel like it gives you just the perfect amount of like smudge. If you use something too thin and angled, it won't give you that smudgy effect. e.l.f. makes a nice one too. Nice smudger brush. Okay, I wasn't precise with it, but you don't have to be. It's very easy to clean up when you're done. And then I'm also going to take this and make a V on the outside of my eyeshadow. I thought that I would also maybe share 5 things about me that you may not know while I do this Get Ready With Me. And hopefully I can fit in all 5, but I thought I would just use the time that I'm applying to tell you 5 things about me. So one thing you may have already noticed if you watch me is that I talk very fast. I've always been someone who talks really fast. My dad used to tease me when I was a kid and say that I could be an auctioneer. And it was something that people commented on a lot whenever I was a little girl, how fast I talk. And I try to be better about it as I've gotten older. But I remember in college too, like even when I'm just having a normal conversation, people would like say to each other, if it was a group, like, she talks so fast, or whoa, 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 slow down, I can't hear you, I can't understand you, you know. So I've always been a really fast talker, and I don't know why that is, because I'm only one of two, and it's not like I had to fight to, you know, have my voice heard at the dinner table. There were only two of us, and my mom and dad. But I've just always been a really fast talker. But it might be because of the second thing is that I have ADHD. I've always had ADHD. I've had problems with it my whole life. But when I was a little girl, it was before like the 80s when people were putting kids on Ritalin and things like that. So it basically was unchecked. My dad has it too. It's very obvious that he has it. And if you know me, it could be a little bit obvious that I have it if you know me well. I can get like kind of flighty with ideas. And like I said, talk really fast. Now I'm going to pick up the Bare Steady, the sparkly one, and just this flat brush. You could use your fingers, but I have nails, so it's really hard to dip into these pots with fingernails. I always get some under my nails. It's really gross. It's the only like downside of having long nails. Well, there's other downsides, but I think there's more bonuses for me. I like having long nails. And the long nails might be a good place to segue into why I like having long nails. I like having long nails because I think they make my hands look nicer. But whenever I was younger, I couldn't have paint or long nails at all because I'm a former ICU nurse. I'm still a nurse, but I was an ICU nurse for many years when I was younger, and when I had my first two children. I have four children, and they are mostly grown. My youngest is 17, and I have an 18-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a soon-to-be 25-year-old, and I'm going on 26 years of marriage to my husband, Lawrence, and I call him LT, not really Larry. I know a lot of Lawrences go by Larry, but his nickname for me is LT. His name is Lawrence Timothy. Okay, you guys, I want to show you this next product, and this is a new product, and I'm super excited about this. So you may recall a few months ago, I was going through my empties and I shared with you my Lancome Efferson's concealer. It's a waterproof concealer that I really love. It's a good one. And I ran out and I needed to purchase a new concealer, and I was just going to repurchase that one. But when I was purchasing some skincare on the It Cosmetics website, I realized that they have a new concealer, and it's called the It Bye Bye Dark Spot Concealer, and it's a serum concealer. And let me tell you what it says on the bottle. It just says it's a corrector and a concealer. It has 2% niacinamide in it, hyaluronic acid, and caffeine, and they're really high in the ingredient list. So I'm super excited about that because not only is it a serum concealer, and I do like serum concealers, especially on my older under eyes because they're thinner and they don't get cakey. But I like that serums do double duty in their skincare and a concealer in one. And I like to use caffeine in my eye creams because they kind of shrink up eye bags. And this has a pretty good amount of caffeine in it. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. So I wanted to show you what it looks like. It's like this. It has a doe foot applicator. And then what you do, obviously, is place it where you would want to conceal or correct. And it doesn't have to be just your under eye. It can be obviously anywhere on your face. I do have a little spot that's covered right now that's stubborn, and I'm trying to fade it. And I can't use super harsh ingredients on it all the time because it's in my under eye area. So I'm really being diligent with that spot. And so I'm really happy that this might also help. And then the other thing is on the other side, there's a brush. And a lot of times these brushes are awful. Like they're sponges, like the Charlotte Tilbury one even. I like that concealer, the Magic Concealer, but I don't like the spongy applicator. But this is a really nice brush. It feels like really soft and it's dense, so you can use it to apply your concealer, and it's washable too. You can just take this to the sink, make sure it's screwed on tight so you don't get water in your product, and use a little bit of your makeup, your brush cleaner, and clean the brush on the end. I've done it several times already, and it's really handy and nice, and it's very thin, but it's really buildable too. That I do see my little spot. I actually have like a small cluster of freckles, and I can conceal it completely with this if I want to. I really don't mind if they show a little bit, but I don't want them to get too dark. I always like to do a lot of repair of my skin over the fall and winter months. So when I go into the next summer, when I'm out in the sun, it seems like no matter how much sunblock you wear, you still get some, like if you're fair like me, some freckling, and so I have to be very diligent. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with the Italian Summer palette from Anastasia, and I found this brush from Real Techniques. It was in my stash when I was kind of purging my stash, and I pulled it out, and it's a dual-ended brush, and this is like a concealer side or for smaller detailed work, but I really like this flat side here, not really for foundation, but for applying my bronzer. So I just pick up my bronzer with this, but it fits so perfectly right where I like to bronze and do a little bit of contour. If I can find this brush, I'll link it. It's a really nice, welcome addition to my collection of brushes, and I really like Real Techniques brushes. I think they're really, really good brushes, and the price is amazing too. Now I'm using the other end to pick up a little bit of that bronzer and just do a little contour on my nose. And I am gonna kind of buff this in a little bit better. I'm also taking some and putting it like up in the crease, just as like a transition shade, because I didn't really use a transition shade. I used the groundwork for the outer corner, but I really like this shade for transition. It doesn't have to be this particular bronzer, but pretty much any bronzer that I use for my skin tone works really well on my face as a transition shade as well. So now I'm just gonna kind of buff that in. So back to the ADHD. I do have ADHD, and when I was younger, it was problematic for me learning, but I managed to get through school just fine. My dad also has it, and he never went to college or anything, but he's really, really smart and has really good common sense. So I think having other skills, he was able to be successful despite having untreated, really bad ADHD. And I think myself, the same thing. And once we got older, like that's something that would have never even registered on my mom's mind, even in the 80s or 90s when people were talking about it more. Now I'm just picking up this Cantaloupe shade, and I'm going to use it as my blush. This is such a pretty shade. And like I said, this palette does come in 2 other colors. So if you have a deeper skin tone or just don't like these colors, you could check out the other 2. But I don't think my mom ever had like a moment where she was like, aha, I know why Dawn is the way she is, or my dad is the way he is. I don't think it registered. But looking back on my life, I see it everywhere I look. Like I was really disorganized. Like organization has never been like a skill of mine. And anyway, I could go on and on. I could make an entire video about that. But one of my sons also has it, but he has the inattentive type where you're just more daydreamy. And so it was really hard to pick up on. And so it was hard. I didn't believe he had it when we had him kind of checked to see what was going on, because something was going on. And when the doctor ran tests, she had to explain to me inattentive type. It's like you're just more daydreamy and more within yourself. It's the type of ADD that girls typically have. I did not have that type. I had the hyperactive type for sure. And now I'm gonna take a little more of the cantaloupe and just kind of go over gently over the Art-therapeachy. You don't need to, but I'm just gonna deepen that up a little bit. And that Art-therapeachy is also an eyelid primer, so we'll just kind of hold that in place too. So the doctor did tell us, you know, she's like, if your son has it, when he takes the medicine for it, it'll be like a light switch. You know, when you take it, all of a sudden you can focus. And if you don't have it, it just won't work. And then you don't have ADD or ADHD. And for my son, it was like a light switch. It just takes that Adderall and he can completely focus. But when he doesn't take it, he can be very, and it doesn't matter. He's lovely no matter how he is. But when my husband and I gave it to him, it was only on school days or when he needed to be focused, be more focused, but not in the summers, not on the weekends or anything like that. And then I thought, well, maybe that's what I have too. So I went through like the battery of tests and everything. And I was also diagnosed, although I don't take Adderall for it. I did try it and it was like a light switch, but I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I just never stuck with it. Okay, you guys, this is my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush, whatever powder, not the new one, but the one she had before. And look how much I've used. I'm almost out of this and I love it. It's such a beautiful powder. I don't think I'm gonna go back to a loose powder. You might see me using loose powder on my channel because I have so many of them and I'm not gonna throw them away. I wanna get through them, but I find them to be messy and this is so much easier. When I got this, I got the NARS at about the same time, and this is the NARS powder. And this reminds me of the MAC blot powder. It's just like a very, very finely milled powder that doesn't have any color to it. So it doesn't disrupt your makeup in any way. It just sort of like sets everything. And so I have not been using this, even though it's new, because I'm trying to get through this first. And that's my aim, to sort of just use products consistently to get through them. Because when you have a lot of makeup, as you know, we change up. It could be on the daily what you're using, and then you don't make a dent in your makeup. So I'm trying to get through products by doing the same looks over and over and over for a period of time, and then moving on to other looks and keeping some of the same products in, but maybe pull in a new eyeshadow palette or a different shade of blush and so on. For my brows, I'm just going to go in with a tinted brow gel from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is in the shade Caramel. It works perfectly with my eyebrows. This is the only Anastasia Beverly Hills product in Caramel that works for me. All the other ones, the Brow Dip pomade, and there's like another one of these that's like more, it's like not tinted, it's just like more color. They're a little too like taupey or ashy on me and not golden enough. So I typically don't use Anastasia's brow products except this one and the powder one. She has like a little powder duo that's really nice, but this is so quick and easy, and this is what I grab a lot of days lately. So I already showed you this brush that would be a great time to pick something like this up at the Sephora sale in April, but the eyeliners are really nice too. These are the liquid eyeliners and I absolutely love them. I love the brush. It's really long and skinny, and I think it's felt. I really like felt tip brushes, but I really like this because it's so long and very user-friendly. And let me just show you. And this is in like a nice slate shade. It's not quite black. For the past few weeks, and now I switched back to the Sky High, which is my favorite from Maybelline. This is my favorite. The Lash Paradise is really nice, but I do have like an oily skin type, even on my eyelids. So that one does transfer on me sometimes. So I don't like it as much as I like the Maybelline Sky High, which doesn't transfer. And this one in the white tube is an eyelash primer. And it's funny because it's black, it's not white like a lot of eyelash primers are, but it feels like it's just using more mascara. Let me show you. So see, it goes on black, and after I apply it, I feel like I have mascara on, and I don't even want to like go in and put more mascara on. Although I will, because I don't know how this is different from another mascara, and I don't know how it'll be during the day. It might smear or something like that. Okay, another thing about me is that I absolutely love animals. I am crazy about animals. I always have been. I've always loved going to zoos. I've loved, you know, the neighborhood dogs growing up and cats, and I have like a lot of compassion for animals. I also love babies and children, but I've always loved animals so much. It's funny, my daughter is just like that. She just loves animals too. So now I'm gonna go in with the mascara, and I'm gonna bring you in close. Oftentimes when we use our primer for our lashes, it's white, not black. So I guess that's how the white would look if it were black, but it makes you almost feel like, do I need to really put on some mascara? Because I feel like this looks pretty good as it is. I just put on more mascara. So I am gonna go in with the mascara, and I do find that it does make my mascara like fluffier and more voluminous. A hobby of mine is kind of like studying birds and bird watching. I've really enjoyed like watching different types of birds and then researching them and finding out their migration patterns and certain birds that are now here in the Chicagoland area that have never been here before and so on. I think that like if I could do my life over again, and instead of going into nursing, I would go into some sort of animal studies, like an ornithologist, which they study birds, because I'm fascinated by like starlings and those murmurations that they do, those patterns that they do when they all fly in sync with one another and do those amazing patterns. I'm just so fascinated by that. It's like I want to understand it, but nobody does. Like all the research I've done are just like theories. Nobody really knows. It's just like a means of communication, they think. Okay, now I'm gonna do a Tarte Fake Awake on my lower waterline just to brighten up my eyes. So for my lips, I'm going to use the Soft Matte Lip Cream from NYX, and this is in the shade Istanbul, and it's a really pretty pink. And I used to do this look and then also add kind of like a peachy lip, but I really like the contrast of the pinky lip with also the peaches on the rest of my face. So I'm going to use Istanbul from NYX. And these are long wearing and they are matte, but they wear really nicely on your lips and they don't dry your lips out at all, which is really nice. And I'm going to top it with a lip oil from Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm almost out of this. I need to pick up another one. It's in the shade Rose Drip. And the reason I picked this up was because Dior came to Ulta and they have their beautiful lip oils, but they're $40 and I just can't do it. I just can't justify it. I know one day I will, but I don't know. I'm just not ready to give into that. I've got too many other products that I want to use. I also really like the Ulta brand lip oils, the fruit infused lip oils. Those are really, really nice. This one does have some like nice ingredients in it. I can't remember what they are, but maybe a fruit oil and some other oils. Really nice. It doesn't feel oily or sticky on your lips. It just feels really nice and hydrating. And I'm just going to add a little bit of highlighter and then maybe share one more thing and then I will be finished. So I'm going to use this little fan brush and I'm going to go in with the highlighter in this Anastasia palette. And I'm just going to apply it to the tops of my cheekbones. It's such a pretty highlighter. Oh, and the other thing that I'll share with you before I leave is that I did grow up on the south side of Chicago, so I'm a city girl. I live in the suburbs now, kind of like rural suburbs, but suburbs nonetheless. I mean, we have all the amenities. It's not like I live in like a super small town. I live in like a small city now, but my husband was raised like on a farm with his grandma had a big farm that he and his siblings worked, and definitely more of a rural country life. And I'm definitely more of a city girl, but I love the country and I'm so happy to be in a more rural environment. Our town is an equestrian town, so there's horses everywhere, a lot of little mini farmettes and things like that. So I like this more, but I definitely have like a city girl spirit, I think. So those are some things about me, and this is the finished look. You could easily do this look using just this palette and use whatever eyelid primer you would normally use. But since I use an eyelid primer anyways, especially when I use this as an eyeshadow, I figured I would just go in with my Art-therapeachy and kind of deepen up the look. And then I really wanted to try the new paint pots, the Bare Steady for the inner corner and under the brow, and then the Groundwork for underneath and in the outer corner. And, but you don't have to do that. You could easily achieve a very, very similar look using just the palette and just use a little bit of that bronzer underneath instead of the Groundwork. And when I purchased my paint pots from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, I was swatching them when I got home and just looking at them. And I swatched one that I got, and it's in the shade Taylor Gray. And it looks like this. And you could see my fingerprint in it from where I did my swatch. And after I applied it to like my hand to look at it, I realized that I already have Taylor Gray in my collection. And let me find it. I had picked it up when I went to the MAC store, when I took my Back to MAC back, which by the way, they're ending that program, I think this month at the 23rd or something. You can no longer do Back to MAC. That really bothers me. Like, why get rid of that program? It incentivized people to recycle, but whatever. But this is what it looks like, the Taylor Gray. And it's just this really pretty gray shade that makes a great contour for like in your transition, if you use it like in your transition shade to make this area kind of recede, and then a brighter color on your lid to pop out and create the illusion of more lid space. It's just beautiful for that. It's also really beautiful for the outer corner and smudging underneath your eye like I did with Groundwork. And I'm going to compare it to Groundwork so you can see the difference. So I've got the Taylor Gray, which is definitely more of a grayish shade, like taupey. And this one is Groundwork, and it's more like brown. And yeah, definitely more brown, like a brownie shade, a brownie taupe. And Taylor Gray is like a grayish taupe. But they both seem like they're in the taupe family. Taylor Gray is definitely more gray. So I thought, oh no, I bought Taylor Gray twice. I only swatched this one with my finger. So I kept the box and I thought that I would offer it to one of you in a giveaway. So if you'd like to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is tell me something about yourself that I might not already know, because that's what this video was, telling you more about me and sharing these new products with you. So yeah, tell me something about you. And in 2 weeks, not 7 to 10 days like I typically do, because spring break is next week and I'm going to be really busy and not around. So check back in 2 weeks. In the first pinned comment and in the description box, you will see if you won the giveaway. Now remember, I did dip my finger into it. My hands were clean. I would never dip a dirty finger into something. I always wash my hands when I'm swatching things. So definitely never used, but I did swatch it. So there's that. If you don't like that, you won't want this. But if you don't mind and you want to be entered in the giveaway, tell me something about you. And in 2 weeks from the day this video goes up, I will draw a winner and look in the first pinned comment in the description box and see if you won. And you will win not only this, but I always throw in some other goodies into the package that I send out to you, like a little mini care package. So yeah, let me know. Tell me something about yourself. I love knowing more about you. And I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. I'll see you next time.